Welcome to the Rhinestone Roper Place. Actually, it's not the Rhinestone Roper Place, but this is where I do most of my trick rope practicing, here in the basketball gym. Today, let's talk about whether your rope is long enough. And like most things, whether your rope is long enough depends on who's using it, doesn't it? But first, why don't you hit subscribe and like and press that little bell, and we'll get on with talking about the length of your rope. If you're like me, most of you for your trick roping are using cotton spot cord. The best place to get spot cord is Western Stage Props. And they'll try to sell you a 13-foot rope and a 15-foot rope and a 20-foot rope and a 24-foot rope and a 40-foot rope. And you need all those. The reason they want to sell you those specific lengths is because that's what most people use for various tricks. But I believe in the Harry Potter theory of trick roping. In Harry Potter, the wand selects the roper. Well, in trick roping, the rope doesn't select the roper, but you do select the rope. When you buy a rope from Western Stage Props, it'll be set up a certain way, and you should change that. You should make it personal to yourself. You should do something to that rope that maybe no one else has done. Make it personal to you. Like Draco Malfoy said to Harry Potter, says, "I want my wand back." And Harry Potter says, "What's wrong with the one you got?" He says, "Well, it's my mother's wand. It's a good wand, but it doesn't really understand me." I think you're better off to believe your rope is the same way. You have set your rope up a specific way for just you, your rope, and you communicate. It understands you, and you understand your rope. There's a lot of things you can do to your rope to make it personal. It's in how you set up your Honda. It's in whether you put an end knot on your rope. It's whether you paint your rope, and the way you do all those things makes your rope unlike any other. And the length does also. Let's start with the short length of rope. I think the website tries to sell a 13-foot rope. I'm not sure why a 13-foot rope, but I'll tell you, I use a 10-foot rope just for practicing butterfly. With any rope, you can practice a butterfly, but you can't take it around your back and change hands with it if you have a long rope. So a short rope is good to practice the butterfly and the butterfly variations. Now, I'm 6 foot 3 inches tall, and I have long arms, and that dictates the length of ropes I use. You should gauge that for yourself. If you're as tall as I am, you might start out with the same lengths I use. If you're a little shorter, you might scale it back a few inches. But if you get a rope that's a foot or two longer than what you need, you can always trim that off and get it down to just exactly the size of rope that fits you and the way you do your tricks. Let's talk about the 15-foot rope. The 15-foot rope is used for leg work. You can go in and out of it with one leg or two legs. You can dance through it and change hands. You can take it around your body. You can even do a wedding ring with it. For my medium-sized rope, which is usually 15, I like a 17-foot rope. That gives me lots of space to get in it and pop it off, do continuous jump-ins and pop-offs, or I can do the leg work with it. The way you want to gauge that medium rope length is you want to hold your arm out here and spin the biggest loop you can and not hit your leg. That will tell you how big a rope you can use. With me, it's 17 feet. With people that are shorter than I am, it may be 15, it might be 13. But you have to be pretty short. If you're like 5 foot tall, a 13 rope is probably what you need. If you're in the middle, it goes up to 17 foot the way I use it. I can barely consistently get that 17-foot rope going out here with one hand. But I can do it consistently, and so that's the rope I want to use to do leg work, to jump in, maybe yo-yo it a couple times and pop it off. 17-foot works for me. You may be taller than I am. You may need a little bit longer. Now you can do all these tricks with a 15-foot rope, but for me, 17-foot gives me a little more room inside the loop. If you're going to have a 2-rope routine with 2 medium-sized loops, basically you're going to be doing those in a flat loop configuration. You'll be doing a lot of leg work with those 2 ropes, maybe taking them around your body, maybe going in them a little bit. But if 15 foot is the biggest loop you can consistently spin out here, not hit your leg, then if you're going to do 2 of those, you probably don't want 2 of them at 15 feet. So for my medium-sized rope by itself, it's about 17 feet long, but I use 2 15-foot ropes to do double routine. Then you have your 20-foot rope. The 20-foot rope is good for all the small tricks and doing leg work with one hand or doing merry-go-rounds, but well, I call it my wedding ring rope. It's the rope you can spin out and do a wedding ring, and it's not too long. It gives you plenty of space inside your rope to make mistakes or to do yo-yos. I like a 22.5-foot rope for my wedding ring rope. I like it just a little bit longer because a little bit longer means I can go ahead and jump through it like a Texas skip, and it gives me another foot so I can throw that loop and rope a kid. It looks like I've got a lot of rope there. Then we have the rope with your heavy brass Honda that you'll do the Texas skip with. I believe they sell a 24-foot rope kind of specifically for that purpose. And I measured mine out. I thought I always felt like I had a ton of rope, ton of extra rope, a nice big loop to get through, but I just measured it. It is 24 feet. So at my height, 24 feet of rope works just fine for the Texas skip. I can spin it right out here. The loop is just barely above the ground. And since it goes that far down, it goes that far up, it's up way up here. And that gives me plenty of space to get through it. Now it's good to have that extra space because as you're going through the loop, you're not in the center of your loop. You're in the back half of that loop because your spinning axis is right here. It's in front of you. It might be close to your body. Hopefully it's close to your body, but still your body is in the back half of that loop. And to make up for the arc of that rope coming past, a lot of times we end up leaning forward to get our hat out of the way of that rope. 24 feet, I feel, is plenty rope for me to get through. Now, if you're a smaller person, you might not need 24 feet. You might buy that 24-foot rope, practice. If it seems like a lot of rope, then don't hang on to the very end of it anymore. Just scoot your hand down or tie a big old knot in the end of it that takes that extra rope out of play. Shorten it up a foot or 2 and see how your Texas skip works. It might work better if you don't have all that rope to get it going. Then they also sell a 40-foot loop. Now that's for the big loop. It's got a brass Honda on it usually also, although my 40-foot loop, I use a 45-foot loop for that. I took that brass Honda off, put a leather burner on there with a bunch of wire for weight. And I find that the loop is not so fast and it's not so heavy that I'm afraid of hitting somebody with that brass Honda. And I can let it out in a controlled fashion. I think they sell a 40-foot rope for that big loop rope. 40 is probably fine. 45-foot goes around my horse real well. And 40 to 45 foot of rope when you're performing, if that's your finale or whenever it is, it's much bigger than any rope you've used in the show up till then. So it looks big to the audience. 40 foot is right in the ballpark. 45 foot is good, anything in there. If you get up to 60 feet, then that's a whole bunch of rope you have to take care of. You got to recoil it, get all those kinks out of it. And if you like 60 feet of rope, if you like that really big loop, then great. I find it's more practical, and the audience still appreciates it with a smaller loop. You can still get 20 kids inside a 40-foot loop. But you want to feel that your rope is set up specifically for you in a way that only you understand the ramifications of, and in a way that's best for you. And one way to do that is to get the perfect length for whatever series of tricks you want to do with a certain rope. I hope this video helps out on that, and good luck with your trick roping. You might check out these other videos that are appearing here. We'll see you later.